The purpose of this video simulation is to provide insight and a form of understanding on how ARD annual review meetings work. The individuals in this meeting will introduce themselves and their role involving our student, Jamila Bradley. Jamila is a 13-year-old African-American girl in the 8th grade. She has specific learning disabilities in reading and mathematics. She lives with her father, who is a bus driver and a weekend security guard, and his companion, Tamika, who is unemployed and does most of the tutoring at home, and her brother in a subsidized housing project. They strive for a stable environment. Jamila's father struggles with an undiagnosed learning disability and supports academia. Jamila has 2 female friends that are also in orchestra and choir together, and they like to watch televised talent shows. Since 3rd grade, Jamila has received 40 minutes of resource for reading, and in 6th grade, math was added to her IEP to help with her falling behind. Normally there would be an administrator of some sort at this ARD meeting, but we will not have this person represented. We will now begin.
Hello everyone. Welcome and thank you all for taking the time out of your days to come to this ARD meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to address Jamila's IEP with an annual review. As a team, we want to ensure Jamila gets the education and services that she needs to succeed here. So, let's begin. I want to start with introductions. I'll start. My name is Abby Lemus, and I'm Jamila's special education teacher.
My name is Carson Robertson, and I am Jamila's general education English language arts teacher.
My name is Kayla Frankenstein, and I am Jamila's math teacher.
My name is Tamika, and I'm here to support Jamila and her father, Mr. Bradley.
I'm Jamila. I'm John Bradley, Jamila's father.
Great. Now that we're all introduced, I would like to let you know, Mr. Bradley, that you have the right to speak up about any changes you feel are appropriate and necessary for Jamila and her IEP.
Thank you.
I would also like to verify that this is your current phone number and this is your current address.
Yes.
Okay, great. Now I would like to give you all an overview of our agenda today. We will begin with a parent and student perspective, then move on to reports of both the general education and special education teacher, myself. Next, we will review the current present levels of performance for Jamila and her goals, and recommendations for changes. We will end with questions and an approval of the IEP. Just as a reminder to us all, this IEP is not final as of right now. It is only a draft. The copy we have with us right now can be adjusted in this meeting as needed for Jamila's absolute success. Jamila, before we begin, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about the things you enjoy here at the school.
Well, I enjoy my classes, even though I sometimes have a hard time with some subjects. My favorite class is choir. I love to sing, but I love to play the violin even more. This class is where I feel the most comfortable because it is something I'm actually good at.
Okay, that's awesome. Mr. Bradley, is there anything you would like to add about how Jamila is progressing in school? Perhaps any strength you would like to tell us about?
Yeah. She loves to play her violin and she practices every night, and she has gotten quite good at it. She also loves to sing and watch singing competitions, and maybe one day she can be on one.
Great. Any other strengths you'd like to address?
Yes, Jamila is very attentive in completing assignments at home, and she strives to do her best. I've also noticed that she works well when classical music is playing in the background.
I agree, those are wonderful strengths. Now, one more thing before we start. Jamila, Mr. Bradley, Tamika, are there any specific areas of concern you are looking to address in this IEP?
Right, yeah. I'm just worried about her reading and math. I know she's a smart, bright girl, but I want to make sure she's getting the extra attention she needs. I would like her to take extra reading classes.
Okay.
In addition, I've helped Jamila at home with her homework assignments, but I have not seen much improvements. She struggles to read passages that she cannot comprehend nor explain what she has read. Oftentimes, she guesses what a word means. I have also noticed the same difficulty when she is assigned math word problems that require her to read. She does not have trouble with the math itself, but she is not able to read the context clues that surround the word problem.
I have a hard time in my reading class with Miss Robertson. She's a great teacher, but it's hard to keep up with the reading assignments. I really do try my best, but I cannot keep up with my classmates. And for Miss Frankenstein's math class, I always feel like I understand the lesson. But when it's time to solve a problem independently, I'm not able to solve it on my own. I just want to get better at math and reading.
Great, we will keep those aspects in mind as we move forward. We will now begin by giving our reports on Jamila. First, we'll hear from our general education English language arts teacher, Ms. Robinson.
Jamila, Mr. Bradley, and Tamika, I'm really glad to see you this afternoon, and I'm happy that you could be here with us. As Jamila's English teacher, I think it's important to first say that Jamila gets along really well with all of the other students in our class, and she is always ready to work when she walks into class, which I really appreciate. She works very hard to complete all the assignments that are given to her, and she does not have any behavior issues whatsoever that inhibit her or her classmates from learning, which is a definite strength. She can read and show comprehensions up to a 5th grade level, which is good, but this is where I would like to see some improvement. Her comprehension level is a little bit behind grade level, and I would like for her to be able to read independently and proficiently at a 6th to 8th grade reading level. The most important thing is that Jamila always comes ready to work, which is half the battle. So I don't want anyone to get discouraged because we're all here to help however we can. Jamila, do you have anything else that you would like to add about your time in my class, such as some of your favorite things or some of the things that you find more difficult, or any ways that I can help you learn better?
I have a difficult time with the assignments where I need to read a passage and then answer some questions. I always feel like I do understand the reading, but once I move on to the questions, I have a hard time understanding and figuring out the answers. I know it may sound weird, but I like having homework for this class because when I take it home, I know I do not have the pressure of keeping up with my classmates. I can go at my own pace and actually try to understand what I'm reading.
Thank you for sharing. I'm really here to help however I can, and I will take all of that information into account in my class. Do any of you all have any questions or comments? I know this can kind of be a lot to take in, so feel free to ask as they come up.
No, not right now.
Okay, now we will hear from her math teacher, Ms. Frankenstein.
Jamila, Mr. Bradley, Tamika, it's really great to have you guys here. That's awesome you're having a good time in your music class. I used to play the piano and saxophone when I was in middle school. I understand you're having a hard time in my class, and that's totally okay. When I was younger, I struggled in math as well. You're a great student, Jamila, and I really want to help you succeed because you try really hard in my class. Would you like to talk about anything else before we talk about your performance?
Math is hard for me, but it makes me happy when I can solve a problem on my own.
Thank you for your input. Now, what I've noticed in my class is that Jamila has really good math skills through the 5th grade. For example, she's able to pick the correct operations to solve problems. She's also able to read most math symbols, and she's really good with computer computation skills. I've also noticed she has good pro-social skills and many friends in math class. Jamila has a really good work effort, and I know she's always tried her best. Jamila, I want you to understand all students struggle in school one way or another, and there's nothing wrong with that. And now we have to talk about things we can do to help you succeed more in my class, because I know you're capable. As of right now, I've noticed Jamila is having difficulty explaining values of irrational numbers, perform scientific notation, and solve linear equations with 2 variables. I would like to propose some goals for these major areas because these are skills we use in other content areas as well as advancing math classes. These are skills that can be built upon to understand other functions and lines and graphing. I offer parent homework lessons to help their children if they don't understand the homework I assign. I find it really helps and it creates better results for both the parent and the child during homework time. Do Mr. Bradley, Tamika, Jamila, do you guys have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Could we develop a goal to address those word problems she has trouble with?
Yeah, totally. What would you like to? How about 80% accuracy, starting with one operation word problems, and then going into evolving into more harder, more complex operations. Does that sound feasible?
That sounds great, yeah.
That sounds good.
Awesome.
Great, I will now make the special education report. Jamila currently gets pulled out of her general education classrooms every day for 15 minutes to work in small reading groups in my special education classroom. She is not currently being pulled out for mathematics because she seems to be improving generally well within the general education classroom with accommodations. But of course, if there's a concern to pull her out for math also, that can be arranged. When I work with Jamila in small reading groups, she is always engaged in the work and follows directions clearly. She is not afraid to ask questions and makes it clear to me when she feels she needs assistance. Currently, we're working on reading passages out loud that are longer and have more details, and then summarize what we thought the story was about. Jamila has been doing very well summarizing the story as a whole, but at times has difficulty recalling slight but important details. We have worked on reading strategies such as highlighting important events and underlining small details that are also important, and this has helped Jamila organize what she is reading. As of right now, I believe Jamila is improving in her reading, but could improve with a little more time being pulled out. I would suggest 1 hour each day, which is an extra 10 minutes from the current 50 minutes she is receiving. So we would have more time to gather all the things we worked on. How does this sound?
Yeah, I think that's great. I believe the extra 10 minutes will help her improve immensely.
Okay, any other comments?
Could we also, since she does work better with classical music in the background, could we do that in the classroom when she's reading, or is that not possible?
Of course, I can add that as an accommodation in my classroom to maybe have some headphones with her when she's working by herself.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, any questions about the reports as a whole?
No.
Okay. Now, we'll take a few seconds to look over the goals on page 2 of the copies of the IEP we each have. Ms. Robinson and Ms. Frankenstein will discuss the current goals, and then you guys will have the opportunity to make suggestions about changes. That sounds good.
Okay, so I'll give y'all just a few seconds to just skim over the reading goals, and then I'll kind of explain, give a brief overview of what I want to work on specifically. Okay, so considering the report I gave you guys earlier, the goals we proposed center around comprehension of texts at the 8th grade level, specifically about themes, characters, and events, like those slight but important details that we were discussing earlier, and they also address her ability to accurately read passages orally. So after reviewing these goals, are there any changes that you think we should make? No? Okay. I will also be sure to give Jamila ample time to finish assignments and send anything that requires more time, either home with her to reduce the stress or for her to work on in the small group reading so that that stress can be reduced. And I also have some classical music that I love to listen to, and I would be happy to play during that individual time if that helps Jamila work better. I think these goals will definitely push Jamila, but with her work ethic, I believe they're achievable, especially with that extra time that we're going to add into her IEP.
I agree.
Given the present performance in my math class, I think those 3 goals should surround the knowledge of properly using irrational numbers like pi and taking improper fractions and reversing them into proper fractions and mixed numbers, and being able to not only identify the number itself, but being able to pick them out and place them on a number line. The second thing that I would kind of like to work more on would be scientific notation, pulling the number in and out of scientific notation, especially since we use that a lot in upper levels of biology. And the third goal I'd like to talk about is linear equations. I'd like to strengthen her skills in that, especially in understanding the basic functions of the line and using coordinates to see where those lines intersect and things of that nature. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns?
Right, just looking over the goals, I see that a lot of it says with 90% accuracy. I believe that 90% is a little too high for Jamila.
Okay, that's totally fine. What number do you think would be great for you?
I think maybe around 80%.
Okay, that's totally doable. And I would also like to go back and recognize the word problem goal that we talked about earlier and doing the 80% accuracy, starting with single operation problems and working our way into larger ones. If that's okay with you guys.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay, cool.
All right, if there's no more comments,
No.
all right, then our meeting has come to an end. We have discussed great changes to Jamila's IEP in order to ensure his success here. Mr. Bradley. If you would please sign her IEP if you are in agreement with it. Thank you. Okay, well, this marks the end of our IEP meeting. Thank you again to everyone for taking the time out of your day to ensure Jamila's absolute success in her education.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you guys.
What if it didn't record?
This meeting is adjourned.